People are talking about the Constitution, the preamble to the Constitution. Preamble to the Constitution talks about the general welfare. And that talks about the health and safety of our people. And that's all we're talking about. That's all we're talking about. This might not be 100%, and nobody's ever said it's 100%. Seatbelts are not 100%. Nothing is 100%. But it's something to help promote the general welfare. So that is part of the Constitution. This great country of ours that was built on freedoms. Well, one of these freedoms is making sure everybody is healthy, trying to promote, caring about each other. That's what these are for.
My concern was that when we came up with the last course of action, we didn't know, well, we knew that we were dealing with a very fluid situation. None of us knew that the following day that this CDC would change their guidance. And if we would have known that, we would have tabled the discussion until we would have a better opportunity to make an informed decision. I think that this board has been handcuffed in its opportunity to make a decision in this matter because of the late guidance that we received. But as far as I'm concerned, you know, the one thing that we have to do as a board is follow state and federal mandates.
SB 1303 says the school boards have to comply with the CDC guidance to the greatest extent practicable. I think you could also say that it is not practical to require universal masking in Spotsylvania County schools. The other interesting thing about 1303 is that it does not give anybody standing to sue a school board for not following what it says. Now, Governor Northam issued a statement on Thursday, August 5th, asking that all school districts require students to mask up indoors regardless of the vaccination status. This was not really an ask. For Governor Northam said that school districts that do not require masks should have a frank discussion with their legal counsel. Now, concerning masks, this board has lots of recent discussion. I think we have done a great job of airing out all sides of this issue, and I think we have made a very sound local decision for our community over the past couple of meetings, for our community and for our families. We have legal counsel, and I just want the board and our attorney to know respectfully that I will not vote for any change to this decision that this board has made about masks. And I believe that we have followed the law, to the greatest extent of our ability. We have done this already for our community and our families by requiring masks with an opt-out option. And again, the law and the ramifications are not clear, yet the will of the people is totally clear for this great county of Spotsylvania. Therefore, I'll be abstaining or voting no, in effect, from voting on any changes to our existing policy. And I urge my liberal colleagues to do the same. Thank you, Madam Chair.
This entire time, the governor, along with his full-time staff, have taken those guidelines and pushed forward mandates. Why now, out of all times, is he now making it up to the schools, giving it to the school board localities, and going back and forth, back and forth? If he valued the CDC guidelines the same way he's done from the beginning of the pandemic, he should have kept a mandate from then until now, whether I'm for the pandemic, whether I'm for those mandates or not. But why now, out of all times, is he throwing it down to the schools and playing games with us? Is it politics or is it statistics and guidelines? He is now actually, I'm not trying to get political, but the person who wrote that bill is now back and forth with the governor of what she meant. I don't care what she meant, what was implied, how it was interpreted. What I care about is, Mr. Northam, you care so much about what's going on. You value the CDC guidelines. You should have kept the same guidelines you threw down on us from the beginning. This whole thing's gone too political. And I'm not voting against CDC guidelines tonight or what we're being told. I'm voting against the political games that we're receiving from the state level.
This is legislation that we're talking about. We are talking about a legislation, and I hear, and it's the legislation last year, and it wasn't special session legislation, as one of my colleagues said. This was general session legislation that was approved by the entire General Assembly in February, and then it was signed by our governor. The thing is, I don't think anybody really paid attention to Section 2, because Section 1 was the big part. Let's put our kids back in school. And that's what we're doing. But, we had, and I compliment, I know some people think that they were taking freedoms away by putting this in, but I want to compliment, and I'm going to say our local people. So our local people that signed that, our local Bryce Reeves, he was one of the patrons to the bill. And then it was approved by our own Spotsylvania, Mark Cole, Bobby Orrock, Buddy Fowler, John McGuire, and then our senators, Ryan McDougall, Richard Stewart, and Bryce Reeves, all support Spotsylvania. And they all voted in favor of this legislation. And all I can say is it may have been a compromise. We're going to open schools. We're going to put this bill forward that we're going to open schools 5 days a week in person. Put it in law. But we want to continue to keep our kids safe. So we should have our school boards following CDC guidance. It's a win-win. We've got our kids in school, and we've always followed the CDC guidance anyway. Put it into the law, the legislation that was approved by all of our Spotsylvania people. I want to say bravo to them, because they were forward thinking. Now there are some people that might be going back on what they meant, but I think what they meant was they wanted to keep our kids safe. And at that point in time, in February, whatever the CDC's guidance was keeping our kids safe. The motion is that we follow Virginia, the 2020-21 Acts, Chapter 456, School Senate Bill 1303, requiring universal masking for kids and staff members while also allowing for religious and medical exemption in collaboration with Spotsylvania County Public Schools and building administration until rescinded by the governor until the CDC has updated its guidance. Okay. I'll do a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Abusmal.
Abusmal, no.
Braswell, aye.
Twig, no.
Daniels, aye.
Phelps, no.
Grampp, aye.
Shelley, aye. It passes 4-3.